Hey parents, I just wanted to touch base with you. A couple of things. I get questions all the time about testing, especially newer parents. As we get closer and closer to testing, want to just kind of give you a little bit of history about what we do, why we do it, philosophy of testing and stripe testing and things of that nature, and so that hopefully it will help you understand what's going on a little bit more with your child in the classroom, or if you're an adult student, a little bit more what's going on and why we do what we do. So a little bit of history before we kind of get into this. When I first started teaching professionally in 2001 out in Valley Station, what we would do is we'd have a couple of stripes, usually a form and a sparring stripe. And what would happen is that we would stripe as soon as you knew your form. Didn't mean it was perfect, but it was just, we striped. And what would happen is someone would have all of their stripes, say within the first 4 weeks of a testing cycle. And what would happen is they would disappear. Well, I got my stuff. I don't need to train for the next 2, 3, 4 weeks. And what would happen is they would come back right before testing. And if you don't train in something and you don't do anything for 2 or 3 weeks, you forget it. And so then it was a scramble right at the end to remember everything. And what would happen is those people would have a hard time, maybe even not pass testing. And so we wanted to change that. So after a little bit of studying how that was going, I decided to start only really giving stripes out and get in the last 2 to 3 weeks right before any testing or any exam. And what that happens then, sometimes that causes a little bit of stress, especially on the child or on the parent or on the student, of I'm not getting my classes, or I'm not getting my stripes, but what it seems to do as well is it tends to have them work harder. They work throughout the cycle, which is very important. Instead of taking 2 or 3 weeks off after they get their stripes, they're getting their stripes right there ready for testing and getting stronger. Now, it can look, because of the timing, that we're just trying to get everybody ready, and we are. And but we're knocking off all of the edges, and if they've been coming to class regularly throughout the cycle, then it won't be a big issue. Now, as a white belt, our whole goal is to get them moving forward. Get them going. They're white belts. We know they're not going to be perfect, and we don't expect them to be perfect. We want them to have the basic knowledge of the material, and we want them to have the basic knowledge of the technique. And then once they get yellow belt and higher up, we get a little bit tougher on the quality of what they're doing. And everybody has their own levels of ability, and we take that into account as well, whether it be age or whether it be size, muscle tone, any challenges they have in life, things of that nature. So that's kind of how all the striping kind of developed, and why we do it near the end of the cycle, which kind of seems maybe is a little bit of a rush to get everybody ready. But that's kind of the philosophy. Is we've done it in the past where we've done it throughout the cycle, and it just doesn't breed for good training for a good portion of the students. And so we want to keep them training. So as we get closer to testing week, and a couple of things I want you to expect, or I want you to know, is that when we come to testing time and it's time for your child to test, they will have 5 stripes on their belt. If they have 3 or 2, if they have stripes on their belt, make sure that you flag one of the instructors, or especially the front counter or myself, and we can definitely take a look at them and maybe suggest a few, maybe an extra training time, something like that, some one-on-one training time, to where they can be ready, and maybe they just need that extra little push. But like I said, the whole point is to get the white belts moving forward, so they get the idea of work versus reward. And I think we all understand that whole principle and what we want them to do, whether it's in school, whether it's a job later in life, knowing their effort versus what their reward should be. So in any case, we've got that going on. But testing, what to expect at testing. So at testing, basically you want to show up about 15 minutes early to your test. full uniform. That means pants, top, belt. They should wear some sort of t-shirt underneath their uniform, and there is a kind of a standard for that. It should be either a white, a black t-shirt, a white t-shirt, a black t-shirt, or if they are a colored belt, then the color of their belt will be fine as well. So if they're a yellow belt, they can wear a yellow shirt underneath. So we want to do that. Speaking about uniforms, one thing we don't want to do is wear pants underneath our uniform pants. That restricts movement, and it can be actually dangerous for their muscles. They can tear a muscle because they're kicking and trying to do things, and the jeans, a lot of times it's jeans that we see underneath them. We don't want to wear anything that's already made to be worn outside of other pants. But in any case, also we don't want collared shirts. We would like to have a t-shirt. A lot of people, and me including, I like wearing dry fit shirts, things like Under Armour, or they call them rash guards in the jiu-jitsu world, but essentially it's just an Under Armour tight fit shirt. It's good for keeping cool, things of that nature, and it doesn't bag out and makes it look nice. But in any case, back to testing, to explain what's going on with testing. Like I said, show up about 15 minutes early, full uniform, and we'll call them out, we'll line them up, and kind of explain how testing will go that day. Most of the time it's going to be the exact same process each time. We've kind of got it down to a science of how to get everybody tested, and also get them tested in a timely manner so that we don't have you here all day. As I was coming up the ranks, testing would take 4 or 5 hours. You went in, you did your form, you sat down, put your gear on, you waited for everybody else. So you could have 100 people, having to do their form, and you'd have to wait for everybody. Then you do sparring. And then, so as we got through this 3 or 4 years ago, we came up with the idea of doing a station testing. We had gotten that idea. Let me back up. We got that idea from a friend of mine, Michael Mershad, and I sat down and worked on it, made sure it would work for us, and it does. And typically, once your child starts their testing, starts actually getting up in front of tables, it's 15 to 20 minutes, and then they're out of here. And then you guys can go home and go on your way. You'll know whether they pass or not. We'll tell them there at the table, and you get a good idea. So that's kind of what to expect on testing day. If your child passes, like I said, they'll know. There'll be an award ceremony the next week, and I'll get back into that in just a minute. But if your child does not pass at primary testing, there is a makeup testing the following Tuesday. Very seldom do we have to schedule it any day other than Tuesday. If we do, it's typically because there's a federal holiday or something like that. But Monday after testing, so testing's normally on Saturday. Monday after testing, there'll be an open gym from 5 to 7, and your child can come in, and there'll be instructors here to help them out. It's going to be some practice on their own time. Basically, we'll watch them, tell them what they need to do, and let them practice, and then watch them again a few minutes later. That type of idea. It's going to be kind of an open practice time for them. Now, as they get done with that, they can get done. If they want to be here for 15 minutes, they can be here for 15 minutes. They want to be here for the whole time. That's totally up to you. It's not a big deal. Makeup testing will be on that Tuesday following, and typically starts at 6 o'clock. Again, you want to get here about 15 minutes early. And the secondary testing, or the makeup testing, is right around 30 people. So it usually takes about an hour and a half. But again, it works the same thing. So if you have a child that's an instructor that's scheduled for that, then you have an idea how long that takes. But it really depends on how many students there are. That type of idea. So if you're a higher rank, you may be there a little bit longer, just because kind of go from the bottom and the lower ranks and move up. So kind of the philosophy of the test, the reason why we test, and that's not universal. There are schools out there that do more of a recital. When I say that they're out there, they actually have instructors out there doing everything with them. This is a test. We expect them to do it correctly, to their ability for their age and for their rank. Now, it may not look perfect, and that's okay. They're learning. We want them to learn. We expect them to make mistakes. They do get 3 chances to do their form correctly. So if they make a mistake, they get to do it again. They get 3 chances if they're a green belt or above to break their boards. And again, that's because we want them to have that opportunity. But testing it's a way to put them under a little bit of stress. We want them to have some stress in life in their testing because they will have stress later in life. And we want them to be a little tempered to that. Now, as a white belt, yellow belt, they're going to be very nervous. I'm going to tell you they're going to be nervous. Sometimes kids just shut down, and that's okay. We work with that. And we expect that. Just about every testing, there's somebody that just kind of shuts down, or they forget what's going on and how to do their moves, and they get help. At white belt level and yellow belt level, we help them out. Orange belt level, there's no help. They have to do it. They can correct at white, yellow, and orange. So if they make a mistake, but they realize it, they can go back and fix that. As a senior orange and higher, they have to do it right the first time. So like I said, as things get higher, they get harder. And it's rightly so. They should get as they get more experience in the testing process. But in any case, so it's a test. And we want them to do it correctly. And people know change. They don't pass. My own children have not passed many times. So it's inherent to it of what goes on in martial arts and doing it correctly. So the best thing to do if that were to happen is to encourage them and to help them get back on that horse, because a lot of times, especially with a child, they feel like they're being left behind by their friends. And so that's not, obviously that's not what we want, but that does happen. So you just gotta kind of get them back on the horse and just let them move forward. And you may have to force them a little bit. I had to do that with my kids, and that's just part of it. It's good for them. The benefits of it, and the side benefits of martial arts. Most of you didn't have them come here to learn to kick and punch. You brought them here to have self-control, self-confidence, discipline, things of that nature. And all of those, even if they know change, they're gonna feel down, and it might hurt their confidence at the beginning, but their confidence will soar once they pass. And we've had students that have not passed 3 or 4 times in a row. My daughter has not passed 3 or 4 times in a row. Ella didn't pass. So we want that. Once you understand that their confidence will soar, but it's just a matter of being able to tackle that challenge that they may have. That it's hard sometimes. Sometimes maybe they went up a board level and they just don't have the technique. And they did for their plastic board, but they don't have the wood, or they don't have the confidence in breaking, and that's a whole nother subject on breaking. But in any case, so that's kind of what to expect, and the stripes and what happens at testing. Now, the week after testing, we've already talked about the secondary testing and the makeup testing and the open gym. Now, usually the Wednesday after that, we have an instructor meeting. So we have a class for the instructors from 6 o'clock till 8 or 9, the Wednesday after testing. And this is a mandatory meeting for all the instructors, and what that does is allows us all to get on the same page for the next cycle. We kind of do a post-mortem for the testing, see what we did good, see what we did well, see what we did not so well, and what we need to fix for the next cycle. And it also allows us to have a little bit of fellowship. We eat a little bit together and things of that nature. So kind of, get a team building exercise there. The Thursday and Friday after, depending on what events are going on the following Saturday, depends on when we will have the award ceremonies. So sometimes it will be on Saturday where we have more time and everybody can get done in one day. Otherwise, if there's something already scheduled for Saturday, or it's a holiday or something like that, a lot of times maybe it's a local holiday like Thunder, something along those lines, or Derby, then we have it on the Thursday and Friday following testing. And you'll just look for times on that posted, and we will have those ready for you. And so that's when they'll get their new belts if they pass testing. After that, then we resume classes following that. So hopefully I covered everything, and get everything going. We want you to be involved. So make sure that if you're not a member of our Facebook group, We want you to be part of that. The Facebook group is BHMA Students and Alumni. So what you do is on Facebook, you just go into the top bar, just like if you're searching for one of your friends, search BHMA Students, or if you just search BHMA, we have like 6 or 7 or 8 different groups for kickboxing and instructors and black belts and all sorts of things. And so, we have those there. You'll see them. And so if you're a kickboxing student, obviously get on the kickboxing group. If you're a jiu-jitsu student, get on the jiu-jitsu student group. But in any case, we want you to be part of that because we put a lot of information out there. Also, the videos for the forms, the sparring skills, self-defense sometimes is on there, tying your belt. This video will be on there as well. So we want you to make sure that you get onto that if you haven't already. It's very important. And we want every parent on there. You don't have to friend request us. You can just kind of request to be in the group and we'll approve you. So if you have any questions, give us a call, put a comment under this video on Facebook. It's going to actually be uploaded to YouTube, so we can send it out in emails and things like that as well. But if you have a question, let me know, and we will most definitely get that to you. Thank you so much, guys, for letting me have the opportunity to teach your kids and teach you. And I'm very blessed and look forward to seeing you guys on the mat. Take care.